You're listening to the Get Out and Drive podcast, fueled by AMD, with your hosts, John, Custom Car Nerd Meyer, and Jason, Old Car Guy Carr. We'll be bringing you gearheads everything you never wanted to know about cars and why they should be on the road and not in your garage. Are you ready to get out and drive?
John, it's great to be back for this, the final episode of 2025. Man, we had quite the year.
It went whipping by.
Didn't it ever? There's a lot of things that we'll get to talk about in this episode. And if you guys stick around to the very end, we've got a big announcement to share with you guys for 2026. But first, we just kind of want to jump back in time. We want to go back and talk about some of our favorite episodes, some interesting events that we maybe should have covered and should have talked about that we simply just, life gets in the way and sometimes you just can't jump on that stuff. But John, how was your Christmas holiday season so far?
So far, it was awesome. It involved Hot Wheels, so super great. Still kind of going through everything and making sure that everything is what I wanted, because it's all for resale and it's going to be on our store on eBay, the Get Out and Drive podcast store, because I put up a lot of stuff that helps promote all the content that you see on our channel. You
said all are for resale.
I
call BS.
Well, the new ones that I got.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So correct me. So not all the new ones that I got. Yeah, it sounds silly, but so I'm always talking to everybody about Hot Wheels and everything, and everybody knows that I collect. And rolling down the road, Fred Ashmore calls me, and he sends me a picture of a box, and he goes, "Are these cars good?" And I'm like, I don't know what to answer, because you freeze the hell up and you don't know if to offer somebody $8,000 or $800. And I asked a whole lot of tiptoe questions, and he told me what he was doing. He was hauling stuff across the country, and he was supposed to bring these cars to someone, and they fell through. So Fred called this guy and hooked me up.
Nice.
Thank you, Fred. When you hear this, thank you. So Fred delivered Hot Wheels, a huge box of Hot Wheels from a seller on the East Coast directly to my office.
Nice.
Thank you, Fred. You never know where you're going to trip over stuff. That's why I keep sending you cars, Jason, that I think are cheap, and I'm not interested in them. I'm like, maybe Jason will like this. He goes, "Dumbass, you sent that to me 3 times already."
Well, we're always looking for a road trip, for the Get Out and Drive podcast. For the last couple of years, we've done one every year, and I think it's great. Looking forward to 2026. We haven't nailed anything down yet, but the U.S. You guys are celebrating like a huge milestone. Was it
250?
250.
This country's been around for 250 years.
Yeah, so we're trying to think of something that we can do to celebrate that 250 as a kind of a momentous occasion for not just for the Get Out and Drive podcast, but for the U.S. So maybe it's something that happens around the July 4th weekend or whatever that looks like. Either way, I'm trying to plan something to get to somewhere you guys can be as well, in some form of a road trip. And Santa Claus found this guy. No, I am not Santa Claus. I'm his evil twin. We are working on the LS engine swap for Dale Jr. So that engine is back together for the second time. And if you want to know the story behind that, go check out my YouTube channel. The engine's back together, and we're just kind of waiting on a few extra dress-up parts for like the valve covers, and I painted the water pump and a couple of the idler pulleys and this and that. Just get a little bit crazy with the duplicolor. Got to spend some time with some family that I haven't done in a long time because my mom and stepdad have moved home, and we spent Christmas with them. So it was a great Christmas time, and we're getting together again on New Year's just for some card games and some fun there too. So
very cool.
It is. It's a fun time, and so if you guys are listening to this probably in the new year, I hope you had a great Merry Christmas with your friends and family, and I hope that the new year serves you well.
Oh yeah, happy 2026. I am not going to touch the door handle of 2026, I'm afraid.
Well, John, let's look back and see what 2025 offered the Get Out and Drive podcast, fueled by AMD. I don't know if we mentioned that on this episode yet or not, but that was the biggest accomplishment for us moving forward to help reach more people, to get more topics of conversation, was partnering with Auto Metal Direct out of Gainesville, Georgia, and Jason Chandler and Eddie Sabreco and the boys down there have really looked after us. So happy to have them a part of our podcast.
It was a great feeling to hear that they were on board with us, and it's nice because they're a very well known brand, and they're always coming out with all sorts of new stuff for CKs. They're coming out with all new parts. They had a great grill comparo the other day on a video for CK stuff, showing you what the offshore one looks like and what their newest reproduction one looks like. A fully enclosed bow tie and all that stuff. So they really have leaps and bounds with their new parts, and they're always updating. So anytime you need parts for your restoration for CK or for square body trucks, and they've even got stuff for muscle cars, man, give them a shout.
Yeah, and one of the new slogans that they're kind of coining for 2025 and moving forward is they are more than just metal, or more than metal, right? So that grill you had mentioned is something, emblems, decals, different stuff like that, weather stripping, control panels for your dash or for your heater controls, stuff like that. They're into just about everything that you can get your hands on. Their inventory is growing leaps and bounds every day. In fact, that grill you were talking about, they compared their old grill
right
to their new redesigned grill.
It is not even nowhere near the same.
Exactly. But we accepted the old one for as good as it was, because the GM stuff of the 90s wasn't great anyway. But they've improved upon it. They've made some corrections, some updates in the color, updates in the form and the fit. So, kudos on them on that particular item, but still so happy to have them a part of our podcast.
I know we did have fun heading down to go see them at C10s in the city. Welcome with open arms. Just having a sponsor for a podcast is fine, and it's great, for what they do and the promotions and everything. But to go to a show and just be welcomed by everybody with open arms, C10s in the city in itself is a great show to go to. But being down there and getting to hang out with everybody from AMD and everybody in the show from C10s in the city, wonderful thing. And I got to hang out and ride around with Jason.
It was. We had a great time. We showed up a day early, which allowed us to kind of get in and get the tour of AMD and their humongous warehouse.
It's so giant.
Yeah. What would they say it was? Like 300,000 square foot, and they're expanding or some stupid thing.
Oh, it's giant. I mean, I got tired. This fat guy, I got tired walking across the thing, and then they said they're getting the whole warehouse next door.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a personal guided tour. Jason himself showed us kind of all the nooks and crannies, the marketing department where all the pictures get taken for their website, which was a neat display. It was a complete 360, put the parts on a turntable and snap that pictures. Out to the R&D center where they have actual vehicles there that they tear down and tear apart to recreate those body panels and those dash pads and those window trim and all that stuff.
Yeah, the original parts don't just make them up. They cut them out of perfectly good vehicle. And you go, well, why would they cut up a perfectly good truck? because GM made it and it fit, and that's what they want to offer you.
Yeah, GM made it and it fit.
And it fit.
But that's the point. You take a look at the square body truck. The last square body that rolled off the assembly line in any version was in 1991. So, we're going back almost 30 plus years ago to something that has been stopped production. GM no longer supports it. So where are you going to get these parts? You'd be lucky enough to find something in the south out of a southern, out of Texas or Oklahoma, maybe. But nevertheless, if you're looking for that complete, maybe not concourse, maybe it is concourse restoration of a square body pickup, like what Brian Harrison does,
Oh yeah,
that type of stuff is what they do. And, all kinds. I keep saying square body. I'm a square body guy, as you can see behind me, but that's where a lot of their focus is. But they also do F-100s. They also do bump side, dent side trucks. They also do muscle cars, like we talked about before. So they're into a lot of the Mopar and the Ford muscle cars. I don't know how close or how in depth they are to the GM stuff yet, but they're working on it every day. So it was great to be able to get down and get that personal tour around that facility. It was freaking huge and state of the art.
State of the art is giant, absolutely giant. I couldn't even believe my eyes. I go in there and they're like, "Oh yeah, come in the back," and it just kept going and going and going and going. I liked how that the parts return bin was super tiny.
Yeah, it took up what, maybe 20 square feet.
Maybe that means something.
Yep.
That's like going to a new car dealer and walking over to the service center and seeing what's in the service department. Go out back, see what's trash, see what's broken.
And one of the neat things that he mentioned too, as part of that, I'm not sure if we mentioned it in any of the videos that we did, but those returns aren't just garbaged. They will donate those to local schools and colleges for their automotive programs so that they can work them and get them back into shape or use them as, whatever types of pieces that they need. So they don't just get thrown out. Somebody has bought it. It got returned. Maybe it was damaged in shipping, whatever. It gets donated back out. And I think that's awesome of them to do that. And they support that next generation of builders very heavily as well.
Jason Chandler was telling me that if somebody's screaming that a part doesn't fit and they ship it back, they ask the person why. And they don't just say, that's too bad, we'll send you another one because it's going to be the same stamp. They ask you why, and they say, well, this is how we can correct it. And they work with customers. And Jason Chandler showed us a progression of different parts that went through. They said, this is a part we did 4 years ago. This is a part we did 6 years ago. This is a part we had when we started. And bolt holes have changed. Everything's changed. It's the evolution of their parts is constantly changing.
Yeah, and to have that knowledge and that marketing ability on our side paid huge dividends to this year's National Get Out and Drive Day, because they pushed that super, super hard. Of course, you're not going to be able to see this, but National Get Out and Drive Day, this thing is over 2 feet wide, this 2025 sticker. And they had a bunch of those printed up. They were sticking them. They were showing them off on their Instagram and on their Facebook pages, and just blasting National Get Out and Drive Day super, super hard. We had supplied them with all the information. They were throwing that stuff in with all their orders. People who didn't know who we were now know. And that has helped us grow with record numbers of downloads and listens to us on podcasts. So 2025 has been huge for us. I don't want to even say in part of AMD. It totally, a lot of that effort goes towards them because they pushed us so hard. So thank you guys for that.
Oh, hey kids, this is Jason with AMD. You're watching the Get Out and Drive podcast. Check this out.
Here's your reminder to support the companies that support your right to get out and drive.
Auto Metal Direct is a premier manufacturer of high-quality restoration parts for classic American cars and trucks. AMD offers a wide range of components, including body panels, trim, glass, weather stripping, and much more, crafted to meet or exceed original equipment specifications. Be sure to visit autometaldirect.com as you get your ride ready to get out and drive.
What drives you?
John, we want to kind of back up a little bit. We talked about our road trip this year. You guys had done a few extra road trips over what I did this year. Talk about some of those that you did. You went to McCacken.
Oh yeah, we got to sit down with Mopar's 5150, and those guys are crazy about chasing cars. They'll buy cars sight unseen over the phone from a dirty picture with a flashlight. I won't do that. It's crazy, but they've stumbled on a lot of Hemi cars and a lot of cars that people that don't computer. And that seems to be, the original owner age of those style of cars. And we got to sit down with those guys and sit down with the owner of the original car from Joe Dirt. It is not a Daytona, but it's made to look like a Daytona in the movie. That was why they got it, and what they thought and I thought was cheap, because it said it was a clone and a recreation. So everybody thought it was a recreation of the Joe Dirt car in the movie. No. The people that were selling it said it was a recreation because they didn't want to say it was a true Superbird, or a true Daytona. And but before that, he bought a Superbird, and he had it made to look like fake patina, identical to the car from Joe Dirt. And he had both of those cars sitting there at McCacken.
And got a lot of flack for it.
Because he took what I thought was a perfectly good Charger Daytona and changed it. And no one liked that at all.
Yeah. But the story behind that, I mean, I don't know what year that movie came out, back in the 90s sometime, Joe Dirt.
93, 94 or something like that.
Yeah. Was it David Spade?
Mm-hmm.
So like we're coming off of the hottest Saturday Night Live crew of movies ever kind of probably put together for the mainstream. And this redneck mullet yokel Joe Dirt comes out in this movie, and he was not the star of the show. Right. So we, of course, as car guys, we look at cars in movies and we realize that the car is the star, not the actor.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like Smokey and the Bandit car was the star of that. Gone in 60 Seconds, the original Eleanor. And even after that, the 2000 Gone in 60 Seconds, that Eleanor became a huge hit and the brunt of a large lawsuit and controversy. That's a whole nother subject, which we've talked about before on this podcast.
We have.
Yeah. And to have all those, they brought a lot of cars that Dodge.
They had, in the barn find section, they probably had 9 cars, I think I counted. Amazing. Their only car that wasn't, or there was 2 cars that weren't theirs. There was a Moulin Rouge Roadrunner, or Coronet, Moulin Rouge Coronet, and then there was another Charger Daytona that was at the end that was white with a molded nose. But that whole side was theirs.
Yeah.
I think one of my top producers of video was the absolutely smashed 71 heavy Chevy Chevelle with, 12,000 miles or something on it. And they stuffed the left headlight up into the dashboard. And I did a full walk around on that thing. And that car is just demolished.
Yeah.
But it's slated for full restoration. And that's what happens to a lot of those cars at McCacken that are in the barn find hidden gems section. People will find them, and then they drag them to that, and it looks terrible. A lot of what happens at McCacken is people drag cars out of the woods or drag cars out of a junkyard, and they bring it to that barn find hidden gem section, and they put it out there, and it looks like a total wreck. And somebody gets super interested in it and buys the car, and then it gets a full restoration. You see cars that are reoccurring year after year. They show up as a field car, and the next year or two, they're an absolute 100-point show car.
Yeah, and part of that, we're kind of getting a little bit off topic here, but part of that is, if you're going to go and take something that's a complete rust bucket and you're going to replace every panel, as you say, lift the VIN and replace the car, like what's an extra $5,000 or $10,000 purchasing the car when, in the grand scheme of things, when that car is done, you've got $1 million show car. That extra couple $1,000 makes no difference. There's provenance between a car that has a specific build or a specific option or a specific color. And if we can recreate that under that VIN plate, Bob's your uncle.
Yes.
So make sure you guys go back and listen to some of those McCacken episodes. I think there's at least half a dozen there, maybe somewhere.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. There's a bunch of long-winded interviews and walk-arounds with people that had their cars there. Several people have had their cars there since they were in high school. There was a whole high school section. Randy Condon had a Judge-ish clone from Dazed and Confused. So there was a ton of cars that we walked around, and that dumbass black and white GTO that George Barris built. What a terrible car. Go watch that. Stop this. Go watch that. Come back.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Custom Car Revival 2025. Yep.
Custom Car Revival. I did not get to go, but I had someone else that we sent, and they did a great job. They photoed everything. It rained like hell.
Rockets.
And it was a great show. I wish I could have gone. My work didn't say I could, but it's always a wonderful show. And tons of brand new vehicles. There's a lot of vehicles that are getting built specifically for that show, which means that it's putting its foothold in the custom car community. It took a while, but it's happening, and it's becoming a big statement piece.
Yeah, and what was the other one that you attended? The one on National Get Out and Drive Day, which was
National Get Out and Drive Day. They have done their best to coordinate ever since they met us, like in 2020. They've done their best to coordinate with the first Sunday in October every year, so that their show falls exactly on National Get Out and Drive Day. And we were able to go out there. We did a lot of hands-on interviews. We did roll in, roll out, interviewed the promoter of that show. Jeffco Power Tour is a local show to St. Louis, but there must have been 2,000 cars there this year. And it's a traveling deal. It goes from St. Louis down to southern Missouri. And if you get a chance, look it up, check it out for 2026. We're always part of it. Get Out and Drive Podcast promotes a lot. They promote Jeffco Power Tour. And check them out. If you're anywhere near the Midwest at all, that's a show to hit.
And if you're not in the Midwest and you're closer to the East Coast, where I am, there's a couple of shows that I attended this year. One was new to me, one that I've been going to for several years, the Atlantic Nationals in Moncton, New Brunswick. It's a huge show for us here in Atlantic Canada that usually brings anywhere in upwards of 2,000 cars or more, different classes, different builds, different whatever. And it's a huge event every year. I'm looking forward to going to 2026 event, which usually happens mid-July. It's super, super good weather as a rule. Like our summers get hot and humid here, and that's about peak time for the Atlantic Nationals. But nevertheless, it's a 4-day event. They start like on Thursday with some downtown stuff and some concerts on Friday night, and a downtown show, a pre-show, and a cruise in, and then the big part of the show in Centennial Park is where everything happens on Saturday and Sunday. if you're there the whole weekend and you register your car, you could win prizes. And they do give away custom built cars, as well as engines and welders and all kinds of great stuff as part of the prize package for that event. It was great to be there. We got to see lots and lots of great vehicles. And you guys, if you haven't gone and looked at the Wagon Queen family truckster, there was one of those there. And look, this sucker was built. It's the best one I've ever seen. And we got to interview the owners of that, who have invited us to Prince Edward Island to see some of their other movie cars that they have. That was a great show. And then the second one that I went to was Fredericton, New Brunswick, which is called Fred Rod, where I met up with Bad Chad as well as Mike Hall, and got to see some of the stuff they were doing. And this is a smaller event, takes place downtown in the capital city. Lots of great cars. Lots of the stores and shops stay open during this event. So as you're walking through and seeing the cars and you want to pop in and grab an ice cream or a meal or a beer at the pub or whatever you want to do, they've got food trucks on hand, and just it's a great event. Lots of great cars, lots of friendly staff. And this year is amped up to be a little bit bigger, as well as having some of the Smokey and the Bandit gang show up to do their thing, and they're going to be bringing a few cars along with them as well. So this is what we love to do. We love to go to these things and see what's going on and mingle and introduce ourselves. And Fred Rod has agreed to be a part of National Get Out and Drive Day. So when the time comes, we'll be getting some stickers and decals out to them. And when people register, they'll be able to kind of see and see what we're doing. I was there handing out stickers galore as I could until I ran out. It's a great event on the East Coast. If you're in the U.S. and you're looking to come to Canada, 35 cents on your dollar, folks. You can't get any better than that. Hotel rooms are cheaper. Your food is cheaper. Your fuel is cheaper, all because of the exchange on the dollar. So I encourage you, got a passport or a Nexus card, come to Canada, check out these shows. We'll be sure to leave that information in the show notes or in the description box down below. Probably my favorite of the whole season was talking about the Palisades fire and that one lonely little VW bus that survived mostly the fire, which has since been completely refurbished by Volkswagen to a T. It did suffer some minor burn damage, but Volkswagen said that they would completely do it free of charge to the owner, and this has been completely refurbished. But I really loved that kind of, I don't know how you even say it, but that great good luck story that comes out of something so horrible, where a huge part of the city was burning for parts, and lo and behold, there's this beautiful little blue bus off in the distance amongst the charred remains that for the most part survived.
It was so perfect. Everyone thought it was fake.
Yep. They thought it was a photoshopped thing or a dinky toy that was sitting in a whatever. Like, you couldn't recreate what had happened there. There was firsthand knowledge of the firefighters that saw it and took the pictures. We weren't the only ones to cover the story. There was, a lot of major news outlets were out there covering the story and talking to the actual owner of the VW bus. And man, like, a lot of crap went down over those few.
I very quickly, because people say that the internet is a terrible place and it's going to be the downfall of humanity. Sometimes it's not. And I was stumbling through Reddit or stumbling through Instagram or something, and I dug and found the owner of that vehicle. I dug and found the actual firefighter who took the photos. And there were people all around the country that couldn't find out anything about that vehicle. And I looked on social media and I used my bright smiling face, and I got all the information, and we got a beautiful interview with that firefighter, and we were able to talk to him, and he verified that was a real picture, and that was ones he took. Yep. And he gave us pictures that weren't even on the web, pictures through the front of the fire truck. That sealed the deal for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and even just some of the stories associated with that. It was a great episode. There was a lot of neat information that come out of that, not just from salvaging that VW bus, but just kind of an inside story to those wildfires and what those guys were going through and how they were dealing with it and this and that. So again, another great episode to make sure you go back and listen to it again if you've already listened to it. But if you haven't, it's a great story. Go back and listen to that one.
Now, every now and then, people trip over internet lore, and they're like, that's a bunch of crap. There's no way that this happened. There's no way that happened. These guys did this and that. And you and I briefly talked off camera about Saddam Hussein ordering a whole bunch of G-body four-door Malibus. And I said, your ass. And I dug a little bit deeper. You dug a little bit deeper. We found the internet lore of the Iraqi taxi. That was one of my favorite episodes, too. That was wonderful.
The funny thing is being Canadian, I knew the story. Right. And I knew kind of the details. In fact, there used to be a few years back, there used to be a few of them that would roll through town here on a regular basis. And you knew exactly what it was when you saw it. There was no question. But for us Canadians who saw them and knew what they were, it was just another car.
Right.
But a lot of people didn't know.
It's not only internet lore, it's something you grew up with and you thought, oh, this is commonplace.
Yeah. And when you start seeing the questions being asked online and the different videos, and then you reach out to me and say, what is this wizardry? And I say, John, that is an Iraqi taxi. And you're like, a Iraqi what?
What now?
Yep. And it just brought on a great conversation of something that I knew most of the story. But when we started diving in, we learned that Saddam Hussein had ordered 25,500 of these suckers. And halfway through the order being supplied to him, he says, no, I don't want these pieces of junk, because the quality was so low on them. The reliability rate was so low. Got to a point where they were sending GM technicians to Iraq to train Iraqi mechanics how to fix these problems they were having with them.
They run great in Canada. Yep. You fill them full of sand, they don't do so good.
And it wasn't that they weren't reliable cars. They were just simply put into extreme use in the desert, 115 degrees, heavy duty AC, heavy duty radiators, but nothing works properly when you fill it full of sand. It's no different for us when we take things and we send them up north. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, you turn your car off in minus 50 degree weather, it's probably not going to start again until spring.
That's exactly right. I mean, other than Iraqi taxi, the rarest thing I'd seen was a manual transmission G-body.
Yeah.
I'd only seen one or two in my life.
Yep. And they were 3 speeds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Crazy.
They weren't even a 4-speed or an overdrive. They were a V6, air-conditioned, 3-speed manual, and that was about it.
It came with an oar, so you could kind of get it going. What a mess.
Yeah. And just very quickly, I'm going to kind of just run down my list of some of the great episodes that we talked about. We talked about a George Barris fine. We talked about Dick Fowler. One thing we should talk about is the loss of a few people in the automotive world. Gene Winfield, early on there, we lost a great one in Gene Winfield. Most recently, also, we lost NASCAR had lost a few people. Greg Biffle was a more notable one. Everybody in the NASCAR game knew who Greg Biffle was, knew what kind of guy he was. And over the last year, with his relationship with Cletus McFarland, brought him back to the forefront and brought him to be a part of pop culture once again. And it's sad that that happened the way that it did, in a plane crash. Him, his wife, his 2 children, the 2 pilots, and their coach driver, I believe, is who passed away in that. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And just over the weekend, Denny Hamlin's father passed away as a result of a house fire.
Yeah, I saw that. That was brutal.
He wasn't well. He had, I think he had some breathing issues anyway. During the whole chase for the cup at the end of the season, Denny Hamlin was trying to win that championship for his dad in hopes that his dad could see him win that championship, knowing full well he likely wasn't going to be around much longer. It's just sad that it happened the way that it did. So our hearts go out to the Hamlin family and the Biffle family and everybody involved in those recent tragedies. We also got to talk about auctions and how auctions screw people over with our buddy Bobby Adams. And again, John, I'll let you kind of talk a little bit about what happened here. But my soul, what a raw deal that was.
Well, I tripped over Bobby Adams World, which is his screen name on TikTok. And I saw a whole bunch of people screaming, including him, that he got screwed out of a car, that he's bidding on a car, and they just kept going after they threw the hammer. Because usually when you throw the hammer, the bid stops. Somebody didn't listen, something happened, something was wrong, they pushed the issue. That blew the internet up. Like, it was amazing. And so I reached out to Bobby Adams, talked to him for a while, and got him to come on and do an interview. And he was very upfront with us about his involvement with Mecum Auctions. And I believe he still uses Mecum Auctions, but I would certainly go in there with kid gloves, because he said, that wasn't cool what you did. And they said, I don't care.
And that is the thing with when it comes to big auction, even in the used car world. Like I'm a used car dealer, so when you're dealing with the auctions, you're dealing with big auctions, dealing with some private ones. The private ones are more apt to help you in a situation versus the big ones who say, "Nope, sorry, we got your money. See you later. See you next week." But it was a bad situation for Bobby. He lost out. I mean, granted, he didn't have to spend the 30 plus grand on that car that he was bidding on. So it was money in his pocket. But when the hammer comes down and the auctioneer says sold, in my eyes, that's it. Auction's over. No more bids. Deal's done. Not in this case. The hammer went down. Auctioneer said sold, and then continued to grab a few more bids, or try to, after the fact, knowing that they didn't get the money they wanted for the car, and that's why they were trying so hard to get more.
I think the belittling, the morning meeting, I think that was important because his ass was there.
Yeah.
And he's getting reprimanded for not going, and the auctioneer had no idea that he didn't go, but he did.
Yeah, he was there. So again, another great episode. We talked a lot about some foolishness with gas lighting. What kind of raw?
Now you're gaslighting me.
We talked about some
Mad Max style. If you like girls, you like skimpy clothed girls, you like rusty cars, you like all of heat and fire and oil and all sorts of craziness and giant four-door Impalas on a semi-truck chassis, that's for you. Wasteland Weekend is, I haven't gone yet, and we were certainly talking about going. But if you've seen the movie Mad Max, they are 100% in to win cosplay, full on, at Wasteland Weekend. And I found out about any of that stuff from the Gasland tabletop game, because I'm into Hot Wheels and all that stuff. So my knowledge kind of bleeds over into that. And people are building little cars that they can play, play Gasland with. And I did some research and stuff, and lo and behold, there's a whole giant genre of idiots building these giant cars that look like they just drove off the movie set of Mad Max. And it is amazing and awesome.
And I was totally not there. And you'll have to go listen to the episode to see what my reaction was at the end of that, because it was priceless. We also had a huge controversial topic about Facebook Marketplace. It's always fun to jump into Facebook Marketplace and pick apart people's ability to market their own vehicle to sell.
Or read.
To see how good them Thunderwelds are. The also is the online rage bullying, which we most recently put our last episode up, where I had to kind of reel in those reins a bit on condemning somebody for the way that they make things happen on their builds. Just because I didn't like it, I made a post about it. And although, John, you agree with me,
I certainly do.
The whole point of doing that episode was basically to put into spotlight of, look, just because a build's not for you doesn't mean it's not the right build for them. Somebody's building that for themselves, as stupid or as ugly or as whatever it might be. They're not building it for me and you. They're building it for them.
Most of the cars that were involved with that, I looked at, and it was a terrible day to have eyes.
What we're supposed to be doing here on the Get Out and Drive podcast is what, John? We're supposed to be encouraging the next generation and answering their questions, and maybe not necessarily patting them on the back, but basically encouraging them to pick up that welder or that chop saw or paint gun or whatever it happens to be. Pick up that jug of Bondo. Pick up that 5-gallon pail of Bondo.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it was a great episode.
Maybe for 2026 they can adjust their rose-colored glasses and get out and look at their vehicle and pull it out of the garage. Sometimes you've been standing too close to it over the winter.
Yeah, folks, and our big announcement for 2026 is we're going to be handing out cards that basically state, here you go, you're not self-aware. No, that's not what we're doing. We're not talking about people's self-awareness. But one thing that we are doing, we're going to kind of pull this wrap-up episode all together into one little pile here at the end, and let you know that our big announcement is that AMD has agreed to a second year as our sponsor, our main sponsor here on the Get Out and Drive podcast. We're so excited about that. They did so much for us in 2025. I'm excited to see what they're going to do for us and what we can do for them in 2026. John, do you have any final thoughts on 2025 and maybe even what we're looking to expect to see in 26?
National Get Out and Drive Day was overwhelming this year.
Absolutely.
We ran out of decals and information twice or three times, I think. We just got inundated. And every time I'd fill up a bucket, send it out for the mail, 100 more things had come in. And when we ran out, we tried to get stuff filled as quickly as possible. People were screaming at me on the net.
Yeah.
Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? And I can tell you, if you're listening to this, go to our website and go to the section for National Get Out and Drive Day and get me your information as soon as possible for National Get Out and Drive Day. Because the sooner you get in information, the sooner you can get your decals, and hopefully we'll order way too many in 2026, and we'll be able to fulfill everything.
On time, even.
On time. On time. And I know it's a good thing to run out.
Yeah, and I know Joanne is there and she's within earshot. Maybe she can tell us the number of stickers we ordered this year.
10,000. And that's in addition to what AMD was providing on their own.
And they probably had every bit of that or more.
Yeah, so we ran out, and like for 2026, part of being able to do these stickers is with the help of people like AMD who help support us so that we can do this sort of thing. Stickers aren't free, folks. It does cost us money. So there's a lot of things that we do to help cover those costs. But sometimes it's about merchandise sales. You can go to our merch store and you can pick up a Get Out and Drive Day t-shirt or a National Get Out and Drive Day t-shirt. the podcast. We're always looking for different ways to help support. We're not in this for the money. If we were, we would have been done 5 years ago. We are in this for bringing this to you, having fun, showcasing certain things, sharing. That's why we do it. So we appreciate you guys that want to support us, but also bear with us. This is not our full-time gig. This is not our full-time job. We are everyday people, and we do try our very best to make sure that everybody gets exactly what they're asking for.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier in this episode, everything. Go to our eBay sales. Our go to eBay and look for Get Out and Drive podcast. Every bit of that goes toward maintenance and upkeep and recording and everything for our podcast. Every bit of that goes there. And so go to our eBay store, go buy something, support our podcast. 100% of the proceeds of that goes directly to get all of these things out to the listeners.
Yeah. And if you're not listening to us on YouTube right now, please head over to YouTube, look up Get Out and Drive podcast. Every time that you watch a video over there, whether it's a short video, whether it's long form, that generates a little bit. It's very, very minor, but it does generate a little bit of revenue for us as well. And if you're not subscribed over there, please hit that subscribe button, because that'll allow us to make sure that every time we post something new, you get notified and you can come listen to it, start that process all over again. John, it's been great. I've had a lot of fun in 2025. I hope you'll continue to have me in 2026 because I'm certainly looking forward to it.
Oh, I can't wait. I think it's going to be fantastic.
And thank you again to Paul, who is behind the scenes looking after us back there, doing all of our editing, fixing our mistakes, and making us sound good. And for Joanne, who is behind the scenes as well, kind of keeping us organized and keeping things on the ball. So guys, thank you so much for 2025 with the Get Out and Drive podcast, fueled by AMD. Can't wait to do it again in 26.
Happy New Year.
Jump in and join the Get Out and Drive podcast, What Drives Youth Initiative, by supporting these organizations that support the next generation in the automotive industry.
Operative Talent is committed to inspiring and empowering the next generation of automotive professionals. Learn more at operativetalent.com.
The RPM Foundation safeguards the critical skills necessary to restore and preserve collector vehicles by supporting hands-on training and engaging the next generation of craftsmen and women. Learn more at rpm.foundation.
Connect with us on social media. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Follow us on X at Get Out and Drive Pod. Cruise on over to our website, getoutanddrive.com, for all the info you never wanted to know about our podcast. Hit us up on our listener hotline, be the first to know what's happening, get industry news, and grab your Get Out and Drive merch.
What drives you?